Namaste, I am JVN, Dr. Anupama Goyal. I am working as professor in Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur, and today I am going to deliver my video lecture on sphagnum, which is a bryophyte, and this video lecture on sphagnum will be beneficial for the students studying in graduate as well as PG classes. So, first of all, let me start with the systematic position of sphagnum. Well, the division is Bryophyta and the class is Bryopsida and the subclass is Sphagnobria, and it belongs to the order Sphagnales and the family is Sphagnaceae. Now I talk about the occurrence of the bryophyte sphagnum. Well, the genus Sphagnum is commonly known as bog moss or peat moss, and sphagnum is cosmopolitan in distribution. The species of sphagnum are found all over the world, and these species, there are about 340 species of sphagnum. They are aquatic or semi-aquatic plants and grow in swamps, ponds and moist habitats such as along the banks of lakes, wet hillsides. The species of sphagnum are perennial. They produce acidic substances, as a result of which the aquatic habitats in which sphagnum grows becomes unsuitable for the growth of fungi, bacteria and other pathogens. This slows down the decaying process of the dead parts of the plants. Now, the gametophytic tissue of these perennial plants after becoming dead settles down along with other partly decomposed dead organic matter at the bottom of the water body. This partially decomposed dead organic matter gets compressed over a period of time by their own increasing weight and give rise to a hard black colored substance which is called the peat. In the long course of time, this peat gets carbonized and is used as direct fuel of great economic importance. Now I talk about the external features of sphagnum. The gametophytic phase of sphagnum is represented by two distinct stages, namely juvenile protonema and mature leafy or gametophore stage. So, the mature plants of sphagnum grow in dense clumps and their shoots are of whitish or brownish green in color. So, all the species of sphagnum accumulate water and grow with bright color, that is deep red, rose pink, due to the presence of water soluble pigment called as anthocyanin. They are perennial, showing unlimited growth by means of an apical cell having three cutting faces. Very young gametophytes bear multicellular rhizoids with oblique septa. Now, what is the function of these rhizoids? These rhizoids help in encourage as well as in the absorption of water and mineral nutrients from the soil. So, mature gametophytes do not bear rhizoids. It is differentiated into an upright branched axis and leaves. Now, I talk about the internal structure of sphagnum. Well, first of all, the main axis. So, the main axis in sphagnum is differentiated into three distinct regions. First of all, cortex. So, the cortex forms the outer part of the main axis. In the main axis, cortex is made up of 2 to 4 layers of thin-walled living hyaline cells but in the axillary branches, cortex is single layered. The mature cortical cells, they lack protoplast. The cortex of the main axis is single layered in sphagnum subsecundum. In the lateral branches of sphagnum molluscum and sphagnum cannellum, some cortical cells elongate and become bottle shape or retort shape. The neck of these cells is curved and has a pore at the distal end. These cells are called the retort cells, and these retort cells help in accumulation of water. So, now next region is prosenkymatous region, then the central region or central cylinder. First of all, what is prosenkymatous region? This region lies inner to the cortex and it is composed of 4 to 6 layers of small, thick walled and narrow parenchymatous cells. The prosenchyma helps in providing mechanical strength or support to the axis. This region is also called as hydrome. So, what is the name of prosenchymatous region? It is also called as hydrome. Now, the central cylinder, the innermost region of the axis, is called as central cylinder or medulla. It is made up of vertically elongated, thin-walled parenchymatous cells. Now, I talk about the leaf of sphagnum. So, what I am talking about the leaf of sphagnum? Well, a cross section of the young leaf of sphagnum shows rectangular or square cells of uniform size, and the mature leaf has the following two types of cells: chlorophyllous cells and the hyaline cells. So, the chlorophyllous cells are small living cells with many discoid chloroplasts. In sphagnum acutefolium, the cells are triangular. In sphagnum squarosum, the cells are biconvex, and they are also called as photosynthetic cells due to their photosynthetic ability. Now, what are the hyaline cells? These are large, polygonal and colorless cells, and these cells lack protoplast. The walls of these cells have spiral thicknings and pores. These cells are called as capillary cells, as these cells absorb water. So, the chlorophyllous and hyaline cells are arranged in an alternate sequence. Now, I talk about the reproduction in sphagnum. Well, first of all, I talk about the vegetative reproduction in sphagnum. It takes place by the following methods. First of all, innovation. Then second is the multiplication of protonemal branches. So, innovation is the common method of reproduction in sphagnum. It takes place by the formation of special vegetative branches called as innovations. Occasionally, one of the branches in the axillary cluster become robust and grows upwards. This branch shows all the characteristics of the main axis and is known as innovation. So, each innovation develops into a new plant when it gets detached from the parent plant. Now, the multiplication of protonemal branches, any marginal cell of the primary protonema may become meristematic and forms a green cellular filament in apical portion, grows into flat thallus like green secondary protoderma. Now this vegetative reproduction takes place by regeneration also. So the growth of the new tissues or organs to replace those lost or damaged in injury is called as regeneration. So sphagnum, which is a bryophyte, has a great potential or power of regeneration. During desiccation, the growth of the sphagnum is checked because the physiological activities like respiration and photosynthesis are suspended, but the cytoplasm shows a high degree of resistance to desiccation, and when water is available, these activities are resumed and normal growth of the plant takes place. Such plants are also known as paleocophytes. Now I talk about the sexual reproduction in sphagnum. First of all, in sphagnum, the sexual reproduction occurs by means of Antheridium and Archegonium. So what is Antheridium? It is a male sex organ, and what is Archegonium? It is a female sex organ in sphagnum. So first of all, I talk about the development of Antheridium in sphagnum. Well, first of all, you see this diagram shows the successive stages in the development of Antheridium in sphagnum. So the development of Antheridium begins with the antheridial initial. So the antheridial initial grows into a papillate outgrowth, then it undergoes transverse division to form a small filamentous structure. The terminal cell of the filament undergoes two oblique intersecting divisions, resulting in the differentiation of an apical cell. The apical cell has two cutting faces and forms derivatives in both the planes. This results in the formation of 12 to 15 cell structure. So 2 to 5 distal cells form the body of the Antheridium, and the remaining cells form the stalk. 2 to 5 distal cells form the body of the Antheridium, and the distal cells undergo periclinal division and each give rise to an outer jacket initial and an inner primary endogonial cell. The endogonial cells divide in all possible planes. The last generation of these cells forms endocytes. The jacket initials undergo division to form a single layered jacket of the Antheridium. So this diagram shows the successive stages in the development of Antheridium. Thank you for hearing my lecture with patience. I will continue the next lecture later on.